Five girls. Today it's 22nd March, Sunday. Welcome back after a weekend. Okay, so you see here, I would like to first convey you the message that stay home, save lives. Try to avoid going outside. Okay, stay home and save lives. Be a neat freak, be neat and clean. Wash your hands. Give to people in need. If you are going to spread anything, spread help, compassion, and humor. And please do not panic. Okay, girls? I have taken a special class. I remember in the school about coronavirus. We have seen a video out of it, and I discussed many things. I told you about different precautions, but today I just wanted to remind you, because now we are with this staying home. Please follow the instructions and stay home as much as possible, and help your parents, help your mother, okay, help your siblings, younger siblings, to wash their hands and be neat and clean. So now let us start with our class, with our new lesson. The new lesson, lesson 4. What are some ocean ecosystems? It's of course the continuation of other lessons, but I mean the same unit of ocean, but the lesson 3, that was how can ocean move. So our lesson vocabulary of this is intertidal zone. What we'll study of today: intertidal zone, coral reef, plankton. You all know coral reef and plankton. Intertidal zone is a new vocabulary for you. Let us start where the ocean meets the land. It's page 520. Try to highlight the points which I'm discussing below in your book and complete your questions. Now, what is the word intertidal, or what is intertidal zone? Girls, when we compare or when we see this word inter, the word inter, it means between. The word inter always, it means between or among. So it's between the tide zone. You remember the word tide? In the last lesson, I taught you about low tides and high tides. That's with the high waves and low waves. So inter is between, it's between high tide and low tide. That is intertidal zone is the area between the high and the low tide lines. So with the definition itself, with the name itself, you can know the definition. The word inter means between or among, and the word tidal is with the tide, between tides. Between which tides? High and low tide lines. Okay. Now at high tide, the area is completely underwater. When you see the high tide, you can just see water. But when the area is at low tide, the area is exposed to air. Which area am I talking about? You know, I can see the inner ocean with the low tide. I can see the ocean floor with the low tide. But with the high tide, only water is seen. When I see the ocean floor at low tide, don't you think so? I can see beautiful things. What are there inside the sea? What are there down inside the ocean? Now, 1 minute, girls. There's one more question before that. How do you think being out of water longer affects an organism's chance for survival? Now, during low tide, when the area is exposed to air, when that area where it's exposed to air, that the ocean floor, okay, and the birds, they can easily see the fishes, or they can easily see those their prey. What do? Of course, the longer they are exposed, the greater their chance of being eaten by birds or by another animals. If they're out of water, I told you they're exposed to, I mean they're out of water for too long, they may be weakened. They will become weak. Okay, now birds. What is an intertidal ecosystem? What does it do? It provides a habitat for more than underwater organisms. At low tide, seabirds feed on many organisms they couldn't reach at high tide. At high tide, I told you what is visible. At high tide, you can only see water. You cannot see the ocean floor. You cannot see those beautiful coral reefs or other fishes. So that time, these inner ocean organisms are safe. But when they are exposed during the low tide, these birds they can enjoy eating them, or it's visible for them. Now coming to intertidal zone, that is maybe our first. So I told you it's an area between the high tide and low tide. Intertidal habitat depend on land features at the shore. Low parts of rocky cliffs, rocky cliffs where you can see not sands because of erosion, rocks. They might have plants that can survive out of water during the low tide. What happens during the low tide? That parts of rocks are not exposed to water so frequently, but they can survive. That can survive out of water. Now, sandy beaches. That's not rocky cliffs. Those are sandy beaches. They hide. What do? They hide the crabs and clams that burrow under sand to avoid the rising. What happens now during the zone, or during this low tide? What happened to the crabs? They hide themselves down. They burrow under the sand. Why? Because they don't want them to expose, because it's low tide now, and they don't want them to be caught by the birds or by the animals. So they wait, and the crabs and the clams, they burrow under the sand for the rising tide. Then once the rising tide, or once the tide rises, they are back up there. Now looking into a tide pool, like this is during the low tide, you can observe ocean life. I can see this beautiful ocean life. Girls, ocean life is beautiful. I wish we all can go and observe together. I wish we all can go there. Okay, so you can observe ocean life without actually going into the ocean, by just looking during the low tide. If you just see a part of the ocean, you can explore it without going deep into there.